Welcome to Right Fit Leader, a podcast from Alec Broadfoot and the Hire with Confidence team at Vision Spark. This is where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and leaders learn how to hire leaders, lead better, and build teams that last. Through expert insights, real client stories, and conversations with top leaders, you will hear how we find A players for your business. This is Right Fit Leader.
Today I'm joined by Mark Stanley, expert EOS Implementer, and the co-author of the data book with Angela Klimas. I always have a hard time with that
Klimas.
one. Klimas.
Yeah.
You've helped so many leadership teams through the years, and data, personally to me, I attended the workshop in Michigan,
Yes.
was so blown away.
Yeah.
By not only the book, but by the material that you delivered there. So I'd love to hear your take on that and dive into what you do on a daily basis a little bit.
Oh, very good. Well, I'm a full-time EOS implementer. I do about 125 session days a year. In addition to that, with the data book, we took it on the road. We did the road show. So the data book was when you create a book, we did that with Angela Klimas and Mark O'Donnell. You can't fit everything in the book that you want to fit in there, otherwise it'd be like 500 pages.
Yes.
So the workshop gives us a chance to go deeper on some of the topics that weren't able to be in the book. So we're very excited to take that on the road. We did 11 of them last year. We're planning on doing 20 of them this year.
Oh, you have them. I wasn't aware, so thank you for that. That'll get people excited about that.
Yes.
So when you're working with teams and it's you talk about data, what is it that you see most often missed with leadership teams and their assessment of how they track data versus where they should be tracking data?
That's right. So data is an important component of the whole model. And we believe that's kind of that force multiplier that makes all the other components of the model better. So if you say data, how does that fit into vision? Vision is, we want to put it can be found in the core target, it's in the 3-year picture, it's in the 1-year plan, obviously it's in the quarterly stuff. How does data impact people? Well, we've got to get the right people in the right seat, and the people analyzer, by any other description, is a measurement tool.
Right.
Plus, minus, and yes, no on the get it, want it, have capacity. Then we also have, if it goes red on the scorecard, we take it to the issue solve. So the issue component is better because you get to identify issues faster and drive them deeper with root cause analysis. And we've got the process component, right? There's 3 measures of process to make sure that it's on track, doing well and getting the result that you're looking for. And then of course it's in the traction component where we're using data to help us stay on track, identify issues, tee them up, solve them, as part of the whole stay on track process each week in the L10. So what gets missed, specific to your question sometimes, is with the scorecard is wrong. We're not measuring enough of the right things. We're measuring too many of the wrong things. If we're not measuring the right things, then we're just, we're building, designing a system, optimizing something that may not need to exist at all. So, and the reason that you have a scorecard is to give you feedback for improvement. So if the measure is wrong, we're getting the feedback on the thing that doesn't matter to us.
Yes.
At the expense of, if we're measuring the right thing, we get feedback on the thing that's most important to us to keep it on track and moving forward.
What's the easiest way to identify whether we're measuring the right thing or the wrong thing?
Yeah, so the scorecard is there, really, it's an activity driver. What you're doing with that is saying, I want the scorecard to drive the right activities or behaviors in the business. So we start with the vision. What is it we're trying to achieve? I like to kind of start with the 10-year target, 3-year picture, 1-year plan. And what you want is your scorecard to make sure you're getting more of the things that you want out of the business. And then you drive it down to the activity. So every measure on the scorecard should be activity-based, it should be simple to measure, and it should be predictable. And we must tie it into our vision.
Perfect.
So kind of start there.
So how do you see accountability in that show up, or lack of accountability show up when we finally get those measurements to the correct measure?
Yep.
Is the next struggle that? Is the next struggle holding people accountable? And how do you educate leadership teams to overcome?
Yeah, so we say let the scorecard do the work, right? So there's accountability is a complicated topic, right?
Yes.
We believe as leaders and managers that we can actually hold people accountable. We cannot. we can just set up the system where accountability is kind of a natural outcome.
Yeah.
So first thing in accountability is making sure they're crystal clear on their roles and responsibilities. That's accountability chart. Then we say as one of the disciplines in the data component is measurable. How do they know they're winning? So every seat should have a measure of how they know whether or not they're winning. Some of those end up on the scorecard, and that's where they're reporting weekly. So if I have to report weekly, on track, off track to my key measure, accountability is kind of a natural outcome. Because if it's red, my name's next to it, and assuming we set the goal well, then the accountability is on me.
So do you find a lot of teams have the wrong set of holding people accountable, and do you see them, and I think this came out of the workshop for me, like it was a glaring thing that a lot of the measurement, when something's red, we almost wash over it instead of saying, whoa, wait a minute here, why is this continually red? Do we need to reassess like the target that we're going after? Is this a reasonable data point to go after? So how do you look at educating?
That's a great question, because that's one of the things we find leadership teams struggle with the most, is getting clarity on how to set the goal on the scorecard. So we recommend in the data book and through the EOS community that we want to set the goal so that at 20% of the time it turns red, and 80% of the time it's in green.
Yes.
Right? And what we find oftentimes is that the goal is set on the scorecard at the average. And so as we learned in the 5th grade, average is half below and half above. So already when we set the wrong goal at the average, then half the time, 50% of the time it's going to be in red. That's just math, right? But that's creating a lot more noise than what we're really needing to have. And then we put 10 measures to the IDS that are red when we're not really that anxious about them. And so we like to say that instead of thinking about the goal on the scorecard as what we're trying to hit, what's the number we have to trigger action? Trigger it going to IDS. So if you think like I'm measuring a temperature, so temperature is 98.6 is what we're supposed to be at, right? If it goes to 99, right, are we getting stressed?
Are we okay?
Probably not, maybe not. If it goes to 100, maybe a little bit more, 101, 102. At some point we're saying this is an issue, we've got to drop it down. And that's at 20% of the time. Or if you go on the other side, if we're on the other, it goes the other way too.
If it's always green, are we measuring
equal? We're not stressing ourselves enough, right? So that there's a law, but it's like we want to have the right amount of tension. Right. And so if we don't have enough tension, we kind of get complacent.
We're not performing at our best when we're not challenged at it.
And we're just complete complacency sets in, and then if we put too much on there, we stress each other out. We get too anxiety.
And we almost deflate people when we put too much on their plate to where, why try for this because I'll never get there. Like we can't adapt their mindset, but we can adapt our mindset.
Unfortunately, we can't motivate people actually, but we can certainly inspire them, right? And so if we can have an inspiring right amount of tension where we feel like we're winning, we know what winning looks like, we have the right people in the right seat following the processes and the measures are coming in place, and all of that's happening, and we got the right tension, that's really fun. We feel like we're winning. We can't be stressing ourselves out too much.
So you mentioned that you have 20 dates coming up. If somebody wanted to check if you were going to be in their area, get engaged with coming to a data workshop, what's the best way for them to do that?
Best way to do that is to go to the website, unstoppable-biz.com. All of the dates are there. You can learn more, sign up there.
Okay.
But unstoppable-biz.com.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mark.
It's been my pleasure.
Talking to you. I always love our interactions and look forward to the next one, and hopefully I'll be joining you at another data workshop
soon. We'd love to have you.
Soon.
Come to any or all. We'd love to have you. All right.
Thanks again
Kate.
for your time.
Thank you, Kat.
Thanks.
Great.